Hello, my name is Nicole Crawford, and I'm your host for this episode of the College and Career Readiness Podcast. Today, we're joined by our special guest, Jurnee Elliott. She is a graduating senior attending North Carolina Agricultural and Technical University. Before we start our interview, remember to take control of your future, join the California Army National Guard, and serve your community during local and state emergencies. You'll learn marketable skills, earn a paycheck, and get money for school. Contact Staff Sergeant Dahlberg today at 916-628-4922. So thank you for joining us on our podcast. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and where you are now?
Okay. So as you said, my name is Jurnee. I moved to Durham, North Carolina when I was 6. And so I was raised there until I went to college now at A&T, which is in Greensboro. So they're about an hour away from Durham. Where I am now, I'm at A&T. I went to A&T all 4 years of my college career. That's it, I think.
So why did you choose NCNT, and how did the fact that it's an HBCU play a role in your decision to go there?
Originally, I had not planned to go to A&T. I didn't even think about applying to it or an HBCU. It's in fact the only HBCU I applied for. My advisor in high school told me that I should apply for it, and I applied, and then I toured it, and I just fell in love. I think HBCUs are incredibly important to our society, our education. I 110% can't imagine not going to an HBCU. Now that I've gone to one, I think they're very important to learn the history of ourselves.
So what programs did you participate in high school, and how did that help you choose your major in college?
In high school, I was a cheerleader and I participated in student council. I also played tennis my senior year. Student council, I guess, would be the closest thing that helped me in my college career, although I'm not on student council at my university. But definitely talking to other students about what they were going to do in college and everything helped me also. I don't play any sports in college, so cheerleading and tennis didn't help, but they were great things to do in high school while I was there.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your overall experience in college so far?
Overall, I would say college has been really awesome. I'm really happy that I went. I debated for a while whether or not it was the right step for me, but I'm super excited and happy that I went. Definitely had ups and downs. I actually moved to California my first semester sophomore year, and I was going to transfer to Sac State. It ended up being that just wasn't for me at that time, and so I ended up moving back to North Carolina. The whole time I still went to A&T. I just took my classes online, so my entire sophomore year I did my classes online. So I didn't really have a sophomore year regularly at the school. But besides that little hiccup, overall really good. For the most part, I haven't had huge issues with the school or anything like that.
Yeah. So how is the HBCU culture different from the traditional schooling experience?
So I think the HBCU culture is different. The fact that it's very much like a community and a family. I feel like everyone generally looks out for each other and for the community around them. I know that A&T is really big on community outreach and students who come from all over, knowing that the people in Greensboro and the community they're around is a city that you're going to be in for the next 4 years. So you should learn about it and get to know it. They have a lot, this is an election year. So we have a lot of forums with candidates that are running in our city and have them come so we can ask them questions and they can meet us. And I think that's different from a regular traditional college or PWI. Just the simple fact that HBCUs also tend to be smaller, so it's a more close-knit. So my regular class size is probably 30, 35 at the most. Even for a lecture is probably 50 people, if that, compared to I have friends who go to PWIs and it's 200 kids in a class, and it's the professors don't know their names. So that's also really awesome for me. I love a small class. I'm a very intimate, learning person. I guess, if that makes sense. So having smaller classes does help me as a student.
So speaking on just the community and environment there, how does that differ from your high school experience?
It differs because my high school was pretty diverse, had a pretty big mixture of like all races and cultures along. And at a HBCU, definitely from my freshman year to my senior year, it's definitely become more diverse, but it's definitely an HBCU. So it's like a lot of Black people there. So it's the culture. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought.
I just asked about how it's different from your high school experience.
Okay, so it's different from my high school because I've been able to learn so much more about Black culture and Black people specifically than like integrating everyone's culture. Yeah. There's a lot more like African American history classes. There's a lot more Afro American culture classes. Like right now I'm taking a Black feminist thought class, and it's like I couldn't take that during high school. And it's just different classes like that, that different from my high school, because it's like in high school it caters to everyone around you, which is really awesome, and that's really cool. But HBCU specifically cater to Black people, and I think that that's what really makes them awesome. It's that's specific.
So you said that that you're taking an African American or Black feminist class.
Yeah.
So it seems like you've become a little bit more like in tune with yourself through an HBCU. So would you agree that being at an HBCU and taking those classes has helped you kind of figure out a little bit more about who you are?
Yes. I think that if I didn't go to an HBCU, I'd be a completely different person. I think that I definitely became in tune to myself as a Black woman, and being able to strongly identify as a Black woman in myself and in society, and just be able to identify just simply as Black, and be able to stand up for different causes and everything without being like knowing more knowledge on them and everything. So I definitely think that going to an HBCU helped me understand who I am and help me get there.
So can you describe a little bit about like the campus layout and stuff like that, and how you go to classes and stuff like that?
Yeah. Sorry. So A&T is actually, in my opinion, it's pretty big. There's dorms on campus. We have about, I don't know how many dorms we have, but we have a lot of dorms. We recently built a student center that opened last year, and you can walk to all of your classes on campus. There's like a south side and a north side, and it takes a while to get from them, but all of your classes are going to be on campus, and you can walk to them fairly quickly. It probably takes maybe the max to get from like the south side to north side is probably like 20 minutes, okay, maybe 25. But there's no need to like we do have a shuttle that runs around campus, but usually you can just walk, especially on like a really nice day. It's nice to just walk around campus. Yeah.
So do you live on campus right now, or
I live off campus in an apartment, but it's still through the school, so it's kind of like an off-campus dorm, okay, if that makes sense. I stayed on campus my freshman year in a freshman dorm, which is really fun, and I recommend to like everybody is to stay on campus at least 1 year. And then my junior year, I stayed in an off-campus apartment as well, which is really awesome. I like the idea of having an off-campus dorm apartment because since it's through the school, because it's through the school, I don't have to like pay rent. It just comes through my financial aid. So it's super awesome that I don't have to worry about utilities and rent and stuff like that, and like having to work necessarily for that. So,
well, that seems really good, and like it seems like a really good experience to be able to balance that with being on campus but also having a little bit of space to yourself and stuff like that.
Yes, for sure. All of the off-campus apartments that they have through the school are in walking distance to the school, except maybe a couple. So that's really awesome, is that if you don't have a car, you're still able to get to class if you do want to have an apartment, because it's nice to be off campus in your own apartment. Definitely not having to share a dorm room is pretty awesome.
So can you tell us a little bit about your academics and some of the classes that you're currently taking?
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest, I'm not the strongest student. So I relatively take, like, my grades are pretty good, I would say, but my classes that I take, I'm a liberal studies student. My major is liberal studies. My concentration is applied cultural thought. And some of the classes that I'm taking currently are Black feminist thought. I'm taking a senior capstone class, which is kind of like the senior class that all of the people in my major have to take to graduate. I'm taking, I don't remember what class I'm taking. I'm taking a Caribbean culture class and an intro into creative writing class, and then a civil liberties class. So as a liberal studies major, I've taken a wide range of classes like that don't necessarily seem that they go together. But it's really awesome because they're pretty much all electives. So it's all classes that I learned something new in, that maybe they don't connect to each other, but they connect to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the academic rigor and level of expectation from your professors?
Yeah, I definitely think that all of my professors expect a certain level of, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't really take any like mess. I definitely have like had hard professors, but I've definitely had easy professors. It just depends on the professor. Like our attendance policies, some professors are very lenient with it. Some professors are not. I think at all colleges, it's the same with how professors are in their classes. It just really depends on the professor. I think all professors, though, demand like respect and demand that you take the class serious and that you just do the work and do the best that you can do.
So have you had to make any big adjustments as a student to compete academically, or do you feel like the transition was pretty easy from high school to college?
I think I'd have to make an adjustment. Like I said, I'm not like the best student. I think when I first got to school, from graduating high school to getting into college, I don't think I took it as serious as I should have. And I definitely have had to like work through that. Even now, my senior year, I'm taking 18 credit hours, which is a lot. That's 6 classes. And that's just because of like stuff from like my sophomore or freshman year where it's like I failed a class. So it's like making sure that like you're going in strong and asking for help when you need it, and making sure that like you know that you're there, you're spending money, or even if you're like on a scholarship, it's like other people are spending money for you to be there, and it's just like to make the best out of it, and to just like really stay focused as much as you can.
So is there anything that you know now, looking retrospectively, that you wish that you knew in high school?
Yeah, I wish I knew that it's going to be hard to like, not hard to juggle everything, but it's like I was not used to like the type of freedom that you have in college. You have a lot of freedom. Like no one's checking you if you don't go to class, but it's like in high school, it's like I had like professors like email my mom if like I wasn't in class or something like that, or teachers email my mom, or like you get detention or something like that. But it's like you don't go to class in college. It's like you don't go to class, you don't do the homework, It's really all you. And it's like I think that's the biggest adjustment, is like having to really like keep yourself in check for yourself. Yeah.
So would you say that you've faced a lot of obstacles going into college, or do you think that because you've kind of had some time to balance it that you're pretty smooth sailing?
I think after my freshman year and just realizing like, oh, this is different, I have to like get it together. Because my freshman year I ended up failing math, and I'm just not a math student anyway, but it was definitely just like a whoa moment, kind of like, okay, let me refocus. So I think I took 18 credit hours last semester, and I made the dean's list, and so I'm taking 18 credit hours this semester. So I think it's smooth sailing since my junior year and into my senior year. It's just knowing that I have to focus, and just know that if I don't do it, it won't get done. So it's kind of just like get it done.
So, being an HBCU, what activities are you involved in on campus?
I'm actually the worst because I'm not involved in anything. I work pretty much, and I do like volunteer opportunities here and there, but that's definitely one thing I wish I did.
Yeah.
When I like in my college experience is definitely join a program. They're super awesome. There's so many, like literally for anything that you want, there's a club for it. And if there's not, find an advisor and they will help you make one for you. It's a great way to make friends. It's a great thing to put on your resume. Actually, it's not with the university, but I am involved with an organization called Population Connection. And basically, it's an organization that is fighting against Trump's global gag rule. And
Yeah.
it's basically like fighting for reproductive justice, which is something I'm really passionate about. So I do that outside of school. But anything on campus, no. But
Okay.
I do say that you should definitely join if you can.
So, in regards to like social life, what are some of your favorite aspects of social life? And does your school host any like special events and stuff like that?
Yes. So social life at A&T is really awesome. I think there's always something going on campus. I think the school does a really good job at holding a lot of different events. We've had silent parties. We've had a carnival on campus. Every like first Thursday of the month, we have like food trucks come to the campus. We have a lot of different events for everyone, which I think is really awesome. It really feels like a home. It feels like very welcoming, and it feels like everyone wants you there. And like you turn around and you see a friendly face. It's a relatively like small, big school, I think. So it's like you see your classmates and they become like your friends, and you see like your friends and just stuff like that. It's a really cool social life. I think that on campus there's a lot of different things for everybody, which I think is nice.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the homecoming that you mentioned earlier?
Yes, GHO. So GHO stands for Greatest Homecoming on Earth, which it is, in fact, the greatest homecoming on Earth. It is our homecoming that happens every year in October. It changes every year between like the beginning or the end of October, but that doesn't matter. But basically, it's just a big like week-long party. Party, which is really awesome, and it's like the ending of the week is our homecoming game, and then we have a gospel concert, and we have I don't want to say like R&B concert. It's just like a concert that they'll get an artist to come to. Like my freshman year, we had like Cardi B and Migos and I forget who else, and we also had like Young Thug come one time. So they get like artists to come for the concert. And then during the week, the school will have different events. Like in the student center, there'll be like a DJ playing and music, or they'll have like a pep rally. We have a pep rally during the week also, which is really awesome. They'll have people come there. My freshman year, it was 2016, so it was an election year, and Hillary Clinton came to the pep rally, which was like super crazy. So yeah, just like a bunch of different school events that happen to celebrate homecoming.
So, what are some of the biggest takeaways that you think you'll be getting from attending an HBCU and just going to college in general?
Attending an HBCU, I think my biggest takeaway is just being able to really become who I am. Like I said before, I don't think that I would be the person I am today if I didn't go to an HBCU. Going to college, my biggest takeaway is just like really balancing like life in general. Like college is going to throw some crazy stuff at you, and you just kind of have to like, or life in general will throw crazy stuff at you, and it's like when you're in college it just seems like that crazy stuff is like 10 times worse because you have to focus on school also. And I think that goes for like literally anything in high school also, or even middle school. It's like having to balance work on top of everything else really feels sometimes like it's impossible. But I think just being able to see that like it's a lot and just take a step back sometimes and like have a self-care day, or just knowing that like it's not the end of the world, the sky isn't falling, is my biggest takeaway, I would think, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just focusing on like the big stuff and the small stuff and just taking it like all one day at a time.
So lastly, what advice would you give to students that are looking to attend colleges and like HBCUs and stuff like that?
My number one advice would be to go to an HBCU, also to go to A&T. But real talk, I would just say to follow your heart and don't really listen to what anyone else is telling you. Go where you want to go. And if that you go there and you decide it's not for you, get out of there, transfer, do what you can to get out. And to really just like have fun, have the most fun. Like my college experience was definitely like the best 4 years I could have asked for. Kind of sad it's ending. Really sad it's ending, but I know that it's like, it'll be okay. But definitely have fun. That's probably honestly the biggest thing, but within reason, definitely get your schoolwork done.
So thank you so much for joining us, Jurnee.
Oh my God,
and
of course.
it's been a pleasure having you. Yeah.
Thank you.